was not very looked upon by our old Iranian people, because all the bad things came from the north, the bad weather, the people who were very uncivilized and always rampage Iran, they all came to the north, from the north, and so we don't pray to that. But south is always supposed to be good because of the good winds they brought and so on. So this is really the reason about this not facing north while praying in our religion. Then it also talks about what happens to the person's soul for 3 days and nights. And we talk about this a little more later on. Shayas Nashayas is a very good thing to do or what not to do type of thing. And this is where the abstinence from meat diet during first 3 days comes up. And this is because in deference to Bambana Meshaspan, who is in charge of all the animals, so we kind of abstain from eating meat during these 3 days when the soul is still in this area or in this world before it goes for the judgment on the 4th day dawn. The funeral ceremonies performed after the disposal of the body for the first 3 days is discussed in this Shayas Nasayas. How to adopt a son and what is required. This is a very interesting thing because we do have this custom of palak, we call it. Palak means adoption, and we will talk a little bit later on. What the ceremonies are on and after the 4th day is discussed also in Shayas Nasayas. And in Saddar we also find a reference for abstinence from meat eating during the first 3 days. So these are the major things I have found from the scriptures. I am sure this is not an exhaustive list, and I am sure there are some other ones also. So I am now on slide number 22, and now we are really starting to look at the ceremonies relating to the disposal of the body. Now, what is the two basic principles in the old days for these ceremonies? The first is to break the contact of the living with the real center of infection. Center of infection, of course, is the dead body. And then the next one then is to destroy this center itself, means get rid of the body. And you have to think about, not just today, but think about what will be the conditions of the people living not only 100 years, but 500 years or 1,000 years in India when we came. And there is no such thing as by antiseptics and all that medicines and all. Only antiseptic the Aryans used was the cow urine. And you know, whether we like it or not, but that's what it was. Compared to now, you know, it may be passé, but at least that was the only thing that was there during the time when we were dealing with the dead body. So, two principles again: break the contact of the living. Don't let the living suffer with any kind of maladies because of contact with the dead body. And secondly, to get rid of the dead body. The other two principles which is not mentioned, but we follow it religiously. And the one is simplicity. We do not believe in any elaborate materials for our disposal of the body. No new clothes, no fancy caskets with thousands of dollars in it and so on. It is not required because once the body is dead, it is just dead matter. And so this is why we want to have simplicity. But another one that is very important for me is equality. Means we treat the dead of the poor and the dead of the rich in the same way. To me, those two principles really are very important for our religion, and we should really understand that way. I am now going to slide number 23. So for instance, in Indian subcontinent, in Bombay or in Parsi village, as we talk right now, Nasesalars we call, corpse bearers, are called to prepare the body for the final disposal. In Mumbai, the Dungarwadi is informed by the relatives. Nasesala bring a van to the place, home or hospital, take the body to an assigned bungalow or the house, in Dungarwadi for the final ceremonies and disposal in the Dakma. In small towns and villages, they have the similar arrangements. They have Nasesalas take the body to a bungalow in the compound of the Sagri and Dakma. Like in Udwara, they have a Dakma and they have a Sagri, the place of Dadga, and they have a little place called Bangli. They take it there, and all the ceremonies of 4 days are performed there, and then also the body is consigned to Dokma right then and there. The ceremonies and prayers are performed the same way, and the body is consigned to the Dokma, whether it is a small village or town or in Bombay. So, let us talk about the step by step how to do these ceremonies of disposal. This is related to the Indian subcontinent. I am on slide number 24. Right after the death, it is required or enjoined that a Shemvo is prayed very near to the deceased year. Body is prepared by giving what we call Sachkar, the final washing by Nirang and water by Nasesalars. And Nasesalars and anybody who is dealing with the dead body is always have to be in a pair, 2 people, and joining by keeping a pavand of a kasti or a piece of white cloth. This is to kind of say that 2 people are much better suited to fight the putrefaction rather than 1 person alone. Then they we use the used and washed set of white clothes, pants, lengo or ijar, sadre, white cap or scarf to cover the head and kashti. Nasesalar or the relative performs the kashti prayer. The shirt and dress put on, body completely covered with a white sheet except the face. Face is kept open. Then the body by Nasesalar is brought into the Bangli room for the final prayers, and it is placed on slabs of stone slabs, head never pointing to north. One of the Nasesalars then draws round the body 3 kashas or circles with a metallic bar or a nail to kind of separate the place where the body is, which is the bad information, the bad place, and then the rest of the places. So sort of it is like a demarcation really. Then a Sagdit ceremony is performed. A dog is brought in. In the old days they really wanted a dog with a chatrushma, means the 4 eyes. That means there were 2 spots usually on these dogs above their eyes. And this is just a custom to have them, but I have not seen one in a long time. I have been to many of these funerals in Bombay and gams and villages. But the dog has an innate ability to distinguish life in a body. If it is alive, it will just turn away the face. If it is dead, it will keep on staring at it. This is the custom that we have found, and dog is very much mentioned into Vandira and his good qualities and help to the human beings. And it is really an animal very much appreciated in our Zoroastrian religion. Fire is then brought by an Afarganyu and kept burning by Sukhar and Loban, and a priest keeps on praying in turns until the body is ready for the Paida ceremony. This is all done in that bungalow as we talked about. It may be done in the homes in the old days. When my brother died in almost 1948, in Tarapur, I have seen this happening all 4 days into my home. The relations and friends of the deceased have been keeping a vigil in the bungalow, usually women inside, men outside. And so final Gesana ceremony will start. We are on slide number 25. About an hour before the time fixed for the removal of the body to Dakma, 2 or 4, as you see in the pairs, Nasesalars completely clothed in perfect white, enter the Bangli house after having said and performed Padyap Kusti. They enter the Bangli holding a pavan between them again and carry a gehan, an iron beer, to remove the body. And we use metal only, because the wood and other porous material, they say, keeps or retains the germs, whereas the metals do not, and that's why we do it. The two Moabites then perform Kusti, Paryab, and appropriate Ga prayers. They go to the chamber where the body is placed on the slabs, and standing at the door or inside the door at some distance from the body, they hold a pavan between them, they lower the padan over their face and take the badge of the Saros badge up to Astavaitis Ashay in Kemnamizda and recite the Aunavaiti Gatha, Gatha Yasna 28 chapter to 34. In between, almost halfway point, after reciting Aunavaiti Gatha up to 31st paragraph 4, they stop for about a minute. The Nasesala now lift the corpse from the slabs of the stone on which it is lying and place it over the Gehan. Then the two priests now turn towards the Gehan and recite the remaining half of the Unavat Gatha. When the recital of the Gatha is finished, the final Sagdid is performed. The dog is brought in again just to make sure the person is dead. And then the relations and friends have a last look of the deceased. The males, one by one, pass before the corpse in a line, have a last look, and out of respect make a bow, which process is called Sajda. The Nasesala then cover up the face with a piece of cloth, secure the body to the bier so that it does not get messed up in carrying, carry the bier out of the house or bungalow, and entrust it to the other group of people called Khandias. Khandia's only job is to carry the body from the bungalow to the Dakhma in the Gehan over their shoulders, and shoulder in Gujarati is called Khand, and so that's why they are called Khandias, from the bungalow to the Dakhma. So now the Khandias are taking the body to the Dakhma, and they are followed by the relations and friends. I'm on slide number 26. Relations and friends who wish to accompany the final funeral procession to the Dakhma and are followed by a bier at a distance, so that they usually keep about 30 paces, they say. The rest of the family now, or assembly who has come to witness the Paidas, can disperse. All those who go with the funeral procession to the Tower of Silence are clothed in full white dress. They arrange themselves in pairs of two, hold the pavan between them, take the badge and silently march to the tower. Procession is headed by the two priests. When procession reaches the Dakhma, at first it is put on a platform outside. Nasesala uncover the face of the body for the final look at it, and all those people who are there is paying the last respect. Then the Sagdid is again performed, and the Nasesala then take the body after opening the gate of the Dakhma, and then take the body inside. They remove all the clothes and place the body in one of the three separate pavis, one for children, one for women, and one for men. Then they remove the clothes, put it into the pavi, and then the clothes are then destroyed. On the Nasesala completing their work in the tower, locking the tower, notice is given by clapping of hands by a servant to all those who have accompanied the funeral procession to say that the body is placed in the tower. They all move to the Sagri or the Dadga nearby, finish the badge that they have taken, starting with Namascha Yarmetisizacha. Then they leave the pavan and then recite the Dakhumano Namaskar prayer, which is also what we pray at as a Hambandagi after the Muktat ceremony when we get together for the Muktat. Then they apply Nirang, the cow's urine, to the exposed portion of their body, wash them with water, perform the Kushti, pay homage to the Dadga Sahib Ataspatsa, go back home and disperse, and they generally supposed to take a bath before they follow their ordinary vocation, as also all the people who attended are supposed to do the same thing. So here then ends ends the complete ceremony of the disposal of the body. I am on church number 28 slide, and now we talk about the second part of it, ceremony relating to the soul of the deceased. These ceremonies are called Sarochnu Patru, perform Avisutrum Gay in the night, maybe for 3 days, depending upon when the body is consigned. Because body is still there, then it is not required to do. Uthamno is Uzirange on the 3rd day. Uthamno on the Ushainge, 4th day dawn. Charum prayers on 4th day Havanga. Prayers for Dehum, Siroj and Salroj, 10th day, 30th day, and a year after that. And let me add that the prayers are also done on Farvadegan, Farvadin Maino, Farvadin Roj, and also during the Muktad, the last 10 days or 5 days of the Gatha. So I'm on slide number 29, and we talk some generalities of why some of these ceremonies are performed. According to our religion, soul remains in this world for 3 days and nights under the protection of Sarosh Yazat, the guardian angel of all of us. The Sarosh ceremony, Saroshnu Patru in the Bangli, Sarosh Yasna, Bajis, and maybe Vandidas in Agyari are all performed in his honor.